Hello, my wonderful friends. Well, what's very interesting is we're going to talk about spirit channeling, and it's pretty amazing actually because I went to my hypnotist and I just wrapped up 4 sessions I've had with her, and one that I had with her last year, she brought my spirit guides in, and the spirit guides are non-physical entities that follow you around in this life, and you can have spirit guides, you can have guardian angels, and the spirit guide can provide you guidance. The guardian angel can serve a protective feature. So what happened is last year I had invoked, with her help, she dropped me into an alpha wave state, and I had brought in spirit guides. I had never heard of spirit guides, and she had told me about them. And what had happened is they told me what was going to happen in the future. They mentioned all these things in certain details that hadn't yet happened. And they gave triggers, they gave words, they gave color images. Well, something interesting happened this time. So just, what was it, this past Monday. All right, so let's see, what was Monday? I want to say May 15th. Which I think it was just this past Monday, so, or May 14th. So what's interesting is, I was in her office, my hypnotist's office, and she dropped me into an alpha state, and within 3 to 5 minutes, I felt a presence coming into my body, much stronger than the first time, and 2 entities came in, Sungar, and then another one called Sagnon. So Sungar was the guardian angel, and Sagnon was the spirit guide. So they came in to give us both messages, but they came in through me. And what had happened was I had channeled. It was kind of, she helped them, but they came in, and guys, this is so different. It's like somebody not taking over your consciousness, but essentially they come in and you stream information. So what happened is my consciousness became expanded. Like you could see through their eyes, or they can see through your eyes, right? And so what happens is I was taking some deeper breaths. All of a sudden, there was a synchronization, and she had walked me into some sort of comfortable setting. And what had happened is my hypnotist believes my hypnotherapist believes that I was taken to a firewalk time, because that's where I started noticing I was walking on coals, and started seeing volcanoes. And then I was finding a middle ground. I was looking at snow-capped mountains, and then I came back to the fire. And immediately then, I looked up into the sky, and she said, we're going to bring the spirit guides. And so then they came, you're sitting, okay, what's going on? Then all of a sudden, this huge presence comes. You feel it, and vibrationally, and then color-wise. And then what happens is it came in, and then it started expanding me. And you almost slip into it and don't realize it until you get out of it. And I'll explain that in a minute. So what was interesting is the spirit guides and the spirit guide and the guardian angel said things to my hypnotist that I didn't know anything about, and that she didn't. She knew about certain things. And so they had asked that she paint on Friday. They explained what she needed to paint, why she needed to paint, what color to look at before she paints, and what color to be surrounded by. They asked questions. They answered questions on prosperity, which is different from what you see in a lot of these clips of financial prosperity and other things. They talked about relationships. They talked about soul purposes. And what happens is you have a heightened sense of awareness that you know the answers as you're channeling them, but that's not you in the sense that it's how you could be guided, but it doesn't replace my thinking about those things. It was just another level of thinking that was unbelievable. I mean, one of the things that I believe was the spirit guide that brought this up, he said, isn't it true that if you look at a plant, like he said a dandelion, then you're looking at that dandelion and you're one with the dandelion. And so what happened is, and so you get this expanded kind of worldview or global view of things. And the answer is yes, you look at it and you feel abundant. He says, so then at that moment you don't need money because you're one with the dandelion. These are things that I would never say in the moment, like who's thinking about these things on a day-to-day basis? Well, there are people that are. But it is kind of interesting because we're looking at money, we're looking at certain things that from a day-to-day level, well, we need it to pay bills or do all these things. And she was bringing that up. She said, well, don't people need money to pay bills? And the spirit guide was saying, well, money is necessary, but your soul is already fully intact, regardless of whether you have money or not. And so it started rapid firing, answering all these questions like boom, boom, boom. And, it was kind of cool because it was kind of free of any judgment. And then the other thing that was pretty amazing was it helped to restore confidence in my hypnotist, because she was wondering about, bringing in spirit guides and things like that. She felt that the ability was only with certain people, and the spirit guides were saying, no, it's with people that if you invoke them, you can bring them in. And that's just what they said. So they told her to paint on Friday. So it was channeling. They said, Friday, look at this color, drink lots of water, eat vegetables. It's kind of crazy. And it's just rapid fire, boom, boom, boom. And they also turned to her and said, we appreciate the work you're doing. You're doing incredible work. And they said something just so profound. They said that as you're noticing and you're helping people in their different situations, you're achieving their states of consciousness. Can you believe it? And they said that you're matching their states of consciousness by your willingness to connect with them at that level. And isn't it true that just as you have joys for art and she has all these other things, that you can also benefit the souls in the way that you are doing as a hypnotherapist? And in that connection to the soul, you're benefiting your own soul. I mean, it was just streamed. So we'll go into, in the next video, we'll go into invoking spirit guides and some ways to do it. And I've been reading some articles on this, and people do it on a day-to-day basis. Like I think it's kind of neat. I'm trying to figure out, okay, do I drop into a trance on a day-to-day basis? How do you get into that alpha state in the early morning, at night? And you know what I'm realizing? They say that more and more the spirit guides can talk to you, and you can talk to the spirit guides. And this also is important too, that I believe everyone can talk to them. That you have them. They're going to show up because they're guiding you. What is important is they're going to guide you at certain times when you're needing to be guided or protected. And the other thing is, the hypnotist had a personal experience where the guardian angel stepped in. And I explained to her, and she believes that it was the guardian angel. She relayed something to me that was absolutely incredible. And if I told you the story, you would just be totally astounded, because it kind of shares that they can go into objects and save people's lives in certain cases. So this is also what was referred to. Robert Schwartz talks about this. I believe it's in Your Soul's Plan or Your Soul's Gift. And he worked with psychics, and this is one of the things they found, that if you're meant to be protected in a particular way, or go a particular direction, there's a voice that'll come in and help to facilitate things or make sure things work out in particular ways. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. But in the next one, we're going to talk about invoking, the follow-up video, I'll make sure to talk about invoking the spirit guides, because basically in the early morning or late at night, you can really do it anytime. What I noticed was, I was shocked with how quickly, what she did was, and I'll wrap this up, when she put me on under the hypnotic trance, it just came right into me. They slipped right into me, but my state of consciousness grew, expanded, and then what happened is, then she says that she thanked them. She was talking to them. I was kind of like witnessing this, and isn't that right, baby? And so the thing I was wondering is, then I said, well, what does that mean? What's happening? And I felt like I was shrinking. So then I started shrinking when she had me come down. She had me get out. She had them leave, and she had me leave the trance, get out of the trance. As she did that, my body and state of awareness felt like it was shrinking. It's embarrassing. But I could notice the difference. You notice that it expanded awareness, and then it shrinks. And what was happening, as she said, I realized it afterwards, my consciousness was coming back into my head. That's what was happening. In a way, it was like an out-of-body experience, but not in the sense that most people understand it. Out-of-body in the sense that my consciousness expanded to make contact with the spirit guides, to bring them in so I could connect with the peace. 2 spirit guides. And it's very transformational. But I would try it with the hypnotherapist. This is a disclaimer. Don't use it to replace any medical advice or anything like this. But do be ready, because in the future there's going to be a newspaper article. And we're going to do a story on this. And I'll paste a link so you can read more about channeling, and it was interesting because I went to the Victory of Lights Expo this past April, and there was a guy there that told me, so you should check out the channeling video. And I channeled last year with the hypnotist, but it's not like I'm channeling at will. Whoops. Sorry. So I got my little special statue of Jesus right here. So this is a nice one to have on hand. Or isn't that right? So why is the dog running away from the statue? What is your issue? Anyway, we'll have more follow-up videos. So I hope you're having a lot of fun, and hope you found this entertaining as well. Thank you so much.